let's talk about one of the most unbelievable survival stories on our planet, the life of the penguin. Seriously, it's a story that takes place in the harshest environment you can possibly imagine. It's a place where, logically, this kind of life just shouldn't work at all. I want you to just picture this for a second. You're 60 miles inland on the Antarctic ice shelf, and it is the dead of the polar night. It's pitch black, and all around you, thousands of emperor penguins are packed together in this silent, frozen huddle. They're starving, they're exhausted, and they're just holding on. This is where their story begins, at the absolute brutal extreme. And look at this. I mean, this is just mind-blowing. Outside that huddle, the temperature can drop to a lethal minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But just a few inches away, packed inside that dense wall of bodies, it can be a relatively comfortable 70 degrees. That tiny, narrow seam between deadly cold and survivable warmth, that's the secret to everything. Okay, so to really get the penguins, you have to first understand the place they call home. And Antarctica isn't just cold, it's a continent built on extremes, a place that seems to be actively fighting against life itself. For starters, it is the driest place on the entire planet, which, yeah, technically makes it a desert of ice. The average winter temperature hangs around a brutal minus 40. And that's before you factor in the wind. With gusts screaming past at 60 miles per hour, the wind chill will freeze any exposed skin in just minutes. And the ground they're standing on? Oh, that's just a 2-mile thick sheet of ice that is constantly shifting and breaking apart right under their feet. So this brings up the big, obvious question, right? Why on earth would any animal choose this place during its absolute worst season to try and raise a family? I mean, it sounds like pure madness. But believe it or not, it's actually a brilliant, perfectly calculated gamble. The whole strategy of the emperor penguin is just completely counterintuitive. While every other animal is running away from the winter, the emperors march straight into the heart of it. This is their gamble, and for it to pay off, it requires nothing less than brutal precision. And it all comes down to the ice. See, they need a huge, stable platform for their colony. The only time the sea ice is solid enough to hold up tens of thousands of them is in the dead of winter. If they waited for summer, the ice would be a broken mess and their chicks would hatch and fall straight into the deadly, freezing ocean. And the process itself? It's an absolute ordeal. First, there's that long journey inland, in complete darkness. Then, the female lays just one single egg, and the handoff to the male has to be absolutely flawless. If that egg touches the ice for even a second, it's frozen solid, instantly. Then, the females have to trek all the way back to the ocean to feed, leaving the males behind for an unbelievable 4-month fast. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. The males stand there, in the dark, balancing that single egg on their feet for over 100 days, with not a single bite of food. In that time, they'll lose almost half of their body weight, pushing their bodies to the absolute limit of what's possible. And the only way they survive is the huddle. But this is so much more than just a big group hug. It's this incredibly sophisticated, leaderless organism. The penguins are always in this constant, slow-motion churn, with individuals rotating from the brutal, cold edge to the warm center. It is a system of pure, shared sacrifice, and it's what keeps the entire colony alive. Now, at the very same time the emperor chicks are hatching way inland, something amazing is happening back at the coast. The sun is finally returning after months of darkness, and it's like the entire ocean just wakes up. And this change is explosive. The first rays of sunlight hit the water and it triggers this massive bloom of phytoplankton. Suddenly, billions and billions of tiny krill appear to feast on it all. And right behind the krill come the predators. The entire Antarctic food web just roars back to life in a matter of weeks. This summer feast is basically a dinner bell for all the other penguin species. You've got the adelies, the true ice specialists, arriving to build their little pebble nests. Then come the adaptable gentoos, who are looking for newly ice-free coastlines. And of course, the chinstraps show up, timing their arrival perfectly to hunt those huge swarms of krill. So we've seen the emperor's strategy, pure, brutal endurance. But what if there's another way to do it? A strategy built not on scarcity, but on just overwhelming abundance. Welcome to South Georgia. This is a sub-Antarctic island, more than 1,000 miles from the continent itself. Here, cold and warm ocean currents crash into each other, and it creates one of the most productive marine environments on Earth. For a penguin, this place is basically a year-round all-you-can-eat supermarket. And this right here really shows you the two totally different philosophies for survival. On one hand, you have the emperor penguin in Antarctica. Its strategy is pure endurance, a frantic one-year cycle totally dependent on that unstable sea ice. But the king penguin over in South Georgia, its strategy is all about abundance. Their breeding cycle takes over 14 months because, well, why rush? Food is everywhere and the land is stable, they can afford to take their time. But here's the thing, the rules that have governed these ancient strategies for millennia, they're changing. The penguin's entire world is being rewritten in fast forward, and frankly, they're struggling to keep up. So the Antarctic Peninsula is warming up faster than almost anywhere else on the planet. That predictable, ancient cycle of ice freezing and melting is completely breaking down. And this rapid change is sorting the penguins into two very clear groups, winners and losers. And I mean, just look at this data. It tells a really stark story. As you can see, Adelie penguin populations have absolutely plummeted. Chinstraps are also in a steep decline. But then look at the gentoos. Their numbers are just soaring in the other direction. So what in the world is driving this huge difference? Well, it really just comes down to flexibility. The Adelies are the ice specialists, remember? Their entire platform for life is literally melting away from under them. The chinstraps are so dependent on krill that any change in the krill population hits them incredibly hard. But the gentoos, they're generalists. They actually prefer open water. So as the ice retreats, they're just expanding their range into brand new territory. They're the unlikely winners in this rapidly changing world. You know, when you look at all of this, it really comes down to one simple truth. Penguins have always lived at the edge of what the planet allows. Their entire existence is just a masterclass in adaptation, a life lived on the absolute razor's edge of what is physically possible. And that leaves us with one final and pretty urgent question. For thousands and thousands of years, penguins have adapted to a brutally harsh but predictable edge. But now, for the first time, that edge is moving, and it's moving faster than many of them can follow. So what happens next? Well, that's a test not just for the penguins, but for the resilience of all life at the very ends of the Earth.